All I wanna do is see you turn into a giant woman. Oh god, I can't believe I just did that. Giant Woman, the 12th episode of Steven Universe, chronologically speaking. The first really musical episode of Steven Universe. We've gotten songs in other episodes and music in other episodes, but this is the first one where we get the sense that this show is actually a musical show. I can't believe I just sang, I really can't. Don't laugh at it too much, please. Spoiler alert for this episode and future episodes, just FYI. This episode was a landmark episode for the show. I still feel like it's probably the best episode of probably the first 20 episodes of the show, honestly. The song in this episode is great. The characterization is great. The interactions of the characters is great. Just the opening of the episode is great. It opens with Pearl and Amethyst playing, I think it's like checkers or chess or one or the other. And every time one of them loses a piece, Steven, who is sitting atop, like above them on it looked like a lifeguard's stand or whatever, he drops a water balloon on whoever lost the piece. And it's hysterical. Because it's entirely unnecessary, but so inventive. And I just loved it. And we get a very brief hint at gem fusion. But unlike some of the other episodes where these hints are left mostly unexplored until later, Steven immediately grabs onto this and asks them about it and pressures them about it, and they eventually tell him about gem fusion. Very, very briefly, no real detail. But it's a genuine explanation, which is not something the show's good at giving us. Meanwhile, Garnet has apparently had a future vision because she now knows that they need to find the Heaven and Earth beetles, which are another one of those really weird, crazy, unexplained gem creatures that I really hope we get a follow-up about at some point. Because they literally are beetles that have gems in them. Like physical beetles. At least that's the impression that I get. It's just very odd, and while it does, in a way, support one of my theories, that being my theory about Lion, it's still something the series really needs to explore more than it has. Anyway, Garnet needs to go get the Earth Beetle because of where it's located. Only she can go there. I think it was on like a volcano or something. So she sends the other three to get the Heaven Beetle on top of this mountain spire thing. And on the way up, Steven finds a goat, first of all, which is adorable and hilarious. Names it Steven Jr. And then he sings a song. He sings the Giant Woman song, trying to get Pearl and Amethyst to fuse into Opal. He really wants to see Opal. And he has this idea in his head of what Opal is going to look like already. We never find out how close that idea was to what Opal actually looks like, but he's definitely not disappointed when he finally sees her. That's pretty obvious. And spoiler alert, we do see Opal in this episode, because they get to the top, and the Heaven Beetle doesn't seem to be there. It's not in its little... It has a little Heaven Beetle house. It's so freaking cute. But it's not in its little Heaven Beetle house. It's somewhere else. It seems to have disappeared. And then all of a sudden, a giant bird appears out of nowhere and attacks them. And once again, Steven is attacked by birds or flying creatures of some kind. I'm seriously going to have to put a Steven attacked by birds counter in the episode. Actually, I'm going to do that. From now on, every time Steven gets attacked by a bird, the Steven attacked by bird counter will go up by 1. Let's see, what have we had so far? We had him be attacked by seagulls in Frybo. There were the butterflies in Sirius Steven, which aren't quite birds, but I'm going to count it. And now we have the giant bird. There may have been more in there somewhere that I just don't remember. But as of right now, the counter will be at 3. And this gem creature is yet another gem creature that we never really get a concrete explanation for, because it eats Steven. And while he's inside its stomach, he sees all these gems on the inside of its stomach that are actually embedded in the creature. And I have a theory about this, and I'm going to talk about it very, very briefly. I think this creature was a corrupted gem fusion, because you never see an external gem, first of all. And then after Opal finally appears, after Pearl and Amethyst do manage to fuse into Opal and pull Steven out of the creature, it becomes so injured that it breaks apart into many, many smaller bird creatures. I think those were its base forms, and that the giant bird was a kind of fusion. Because we do know that one way that fusions can break apart is that they take enough damage that they are forced to separate into their base forms. And then we get an awesome shot of Opal drawing both Pearl's and Amethyst's weapons and fusing them together into a bow and creating this giant light arrow that she shoots at all of the bird creatures. It splits, hits all of them at once, and automatically bubbles them all and teleports them back to the temple. Wow. That's power. And throughout this entire episode, you get the mystery, you get the intrigue, and you get the power of fusion. all at once. It's all given to us all at once with a great song, with a great story, with some great characterization between Pearl and Amethyst. It's overall just a great episode. In fact, this episode, I mentioned in the review of the previous episode that I think it's really good, but that I don't think it stacks up with current episodes of the show. This one definitely does. But guys, what did you think about this episode? Do you think we need to see more Opal? I personally do. Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.